He kōna ipurangi tēnei nā te reo irirangi o Aotearoa.
We just work out what we need for the month, and that's all we get.
Something's more expensive, we don't get that this week.
When you want to do something well, it's generally good to have a plan.
I'm trying to be conscious about what I'm buying.
I've never been a great one for long-term planning, but when it comes to organising what we're going to eat,
just thinking ahead probably.
Most of us have some kind of strategy.
Use the bare minimum you can rather than adding extra bits into the recipe.
Kia ora, welcome to Thrift. I'm Katy Gossett, and our theme for this episode is meal planning. Now, there's a saying, failing to plan is planning to fail. I've heard this quote, or versions of it, attributed to a few different people, including Benjamin Franklin and Winston Churchill. Although I'm guessing that statesmen and prime ministers don't really have to freak too much about their food budgets. Anyway, meal planning. Everyone does it a bit differently, and I'm sure it won't be the only time we talk about it on Thrift. But for this episode, we're meeting someone at the coalface.
My name is Jordyn Hammond, and I'm a student nurse, and I'm 21 years old.
She's in her final year and has a part-time job, but she's still on a limited income.
My partner and I want to spend about $80 a week, $40 a week per person.
She learned some good skills from her parents and then honed her talents flatting with 3 blokes.
They eat like horses, and I got a knack for being able to meal plan on a really low budget.
Jordyn soon had those boys whipped into shape.
For 4 people, I was able to get it down to about $160 a week.
But now they're no longer living with her. I bet they miss her.
Like sometimes we'll have them over and I'll cook lasagna or something, and it's like the best meal they've had.
Now Jordyn's put her tips and recipes out on a blog for others to share.
With nursing, I care very much about people, so I thought I can do this in my free time and still help people.
Jordyn posts sample weekly shops for budgets of $40, $70, $80. She lists the ingredients, but also has before and after shots, which I find really helpful because you get a kind of instant snapshot of what's needed. What really strikes me is how she strings out the vegetables, sometimes only using 1 or 2 in a dish. The meals are things like beef stroganoff, red Thai curry, chicken and bean tacos. And it was her mum who first urged her to do the blog.
She's like, oh, you don't understand how many people you could help.
But it was her work that showed her the need for it.
Doing the placements in the community, I saw that a lot of people didn't know how to meal plan. So I just thought, I'll just give it a go.
So whether you go to the supermarket or, as a lot of people do now, the smaller fruit and veg shops, tip 1 is about finding the absolute cheapest deal and building your meal from there. Now, you might think, well, duh, obviously we get what's cheap. But in the past, a lot of us have had a repertoire of regular meals, and now more and more people are starting with the specials, adapting how they shop to use what's cheap.
And then buy bulk of that vegetable or that protein, and then you just find the recipes to fit it.
Trying to buy things on special or that are in season.
And Jordyn is the same, although she does use a supermarket.
I go into their online shopping and I look at what's on sale. So for this week, it was broccoli for 99 cents, I believe.
She searches up broccoli recipes online and also checks out Uber Eats so she can find tasty dishes and then make them much more cheaply herself.
All the food on Uber Eats looks so good and so yum, but you don't want to pay like $30 for a meal.
Definitely not. So she finds some good recipes.
Broccoli soup. I love broccoli soup. And then broccoli salad.
To make her salads and other meals go a bit further, as I'm sure many of you do, Jordyn bulks them up with beans and lentils.
Good source of protein, and it keeps you fuller for longer.
And whether you do dry pulses or just the cans, it's pretty cost effective.
I only ever buy the budget stuff.
So back to the online shopping. She fills out the form,
but I just use it as like a shopping list.
That gives her a rough idea of how much things will cost.
So I'm over my budget for this week. What can I cut out and what can I substitute?
We'll talk more about substitutions in a bit.
It's like, oh, do I really need to add like an extra potato to this? And then I can just take things out, get to my like goal spend.
So let's just back up a sec. Yes, Jordyn plans her shop right down to the last potato.
Yep. And it sounds crazy, but you buy all this food and then you haven't used it. It's just such a waste.
The same goes for cooking more than you actually need.
It's not just meal planning, but planning your portions as well.
Of course, you can end up with leftovers, which should be a good thing, but as you'll find out in our next episode on food waste, the average New Zealand household throws out $1,500 of food waste each year. And I was really surprised to hear that leftovers are one of the first things in the bin. So Jordyn has a strict policy on that.
The goal is to get it gone by lunch.
Now back to Jordyn's shopping list. The veggies are her top priority.
Next is meat.
Once again, she goes for what's on special.
This week I had fast fry beef, and then I thought, okay, a stew would be good.
She'll spread the beef across a couple of meals to make it go further.
I've got pasta, so what can I make with pasta and the beef steaks? Stroganoff. I can use yogurt instead of sour cream, so basically all I need is maybe a couple mushrooms.
And in fact, in the recipe on her blog, she gets by on just one mushroom. What this approach means is that her shopping list changes all the time.
The only thing I buy every single week is milk and bread. Always, because then you can make toasted sandwiches, you can have a coffee.
Once you've got your food, there is kind of a hierarchy. Obviously, to avoid waste, you need to eat your fresh vegetables first. But Jordyn also buys a lot of canned products.
I'm doing a curry later on in the week, so I bought a little bit of these crushed pineapple, and instead of using fresh cream, I can use coconut cream and lots of chickpeas and lentils.
Tell me about your dinner. Whip the lid off and talk us through what's in here.
So I've got potatoes, carrots, leeks, onion.
This is the stew that Jordyn was talking about before.
The steak.
So food prep, the chopping of vegetables, the frying of onions, the things I thought we'd be hearing. But actually, those are just some sound effects because Jordyn is uber organised. All her meal prep is done. And this stew is a little something she prepared earlier.
And then I whack it on in the morning and then it's ready by dinner time. That's the stew.
It smells good, incidentally. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it doesn't smell too bad, yeah. You can smell the carrot. Yeah, and the oregano.
Do you know how much this meal would cost you?
Like $8 for 2 people?
So now we've got tip 1 on board. We've rejigged the way we shop to get the cheapest possible deals. How do we make that food taste good? Well, can we have a wee poke in your pantry?
Yes.
Now I've infiltrated her kitchen, tip 2 is getting down to the nitty-gritty, and I mean gritty. The spices, the stocks, the sauces, and the substitutions.
This is my pantry.
Okay. My first thought is it's really organised.
Yes, I don't want things getting lost in the back because then you end up buying them again and you realise, oh, I've actually already got it.
This is a great tip. Keep things tidy so you know what you have. Especially for me, I discovered the other day that I had 3 separate packets of thyme in different boxes. Guess I'm not as time poor as I thought I was. But speaking of spices,
if you season anything well enough, it'll taste good. You can make a pretty basic meal and have it taste really luxurious.
I don't know about you, but I quite often embark on a recipe and then find I'm missing an ingredient. So if in doubt, swap it out.
You go, oh, what can I use instead of that?
If I haven't got it, I don't go back and I have to just make do with what's in the house.
A good example for Jordyn is when she wanted to make French onion soup.
What I would class a fancy meal.
But it also required expensive cheese, which she swapped out for cheddar, and wine.
So what's wine? It's fermented and acidic. I thought, what in my pantry is fermented and acidic? Marmite. And so I ended up mixing a little bit of Marmite with water and slowly added it to the soup. And it worked quite well.
It's all about breaking it down to its parts.
Is it a dairy product? Is it creamy? What else is creamy? Is it oily? Is it fatty? Is it acidic? And then seeing what else in your pantry sort of meets that.
And there are good resources online. Just search up spice substitutes. So what about desserts? Jordyn has taken her disappointment at the cost of chocolate and channeled it into baking.
Nothing beats home baking. I love making brownies.
But this is where the basics come in, and it leads us to tip 3. Top up your pantry staples.
Like the flour, sugar, I always keep that replenished, so when I do feel like having something, I have the resources to go and make it.
The thing is, $80 a week for 2 people sounds good, right? But a lot of these meals and desserts rely on those pantry staples. So when they're gone, they need replacing.
Usually all the food for the week, I'll try and squeeze into about $60. The other 20 will go towards replenishing pantry staples or like toilet paper.
Jordyn's budget also covers breakfast and lunch. Breakfast tends to be cheap cereal or else her own homemade muesli with her homemade yogurt. Lunch is pretty much soup, toasted sandwiches or leftovers. But what about treats? Because a person cannot live on supermarket brand beans alone. So every so often you need a little something special.
It would be ice cream. I love ice cream.
And the flip side of all this diligent planning is that sometimes you've got a bit left in the pot.
I have money left over. I have the ability to go and spend it on stuff that I really want. But yeah, ice cream. Homemade brownies and then some French vanilla ice cream. Oh, my go-to.
Jordyn makes it sound easy, but organising the weekly shop used to take a whole afternoon.
The more I did it, the easier it got. Like, you have this bank of meals in your brain. So now it probably takes me about half an hour.
Jordyn's posted links to her blog and some of her recipes in Facebook groups targeting cheaper or frugal living, and she's had a big response.
A lot of people really struggle with it. So I'm glad I could at least do my part, put my 2 cents in to give people a hand.
Jordyn's just one of many people meal planning. Over the coming seasons, we might profile some others who do it differently. It really helps if you like cooking, and Jordyn does. She also has one special ingredient that didn't cost her anything: a partner who does the dishes.
He likes things cleaned a particular way, I like things cooked a particular way, so it works quite well for the both of us.
So recapping on Jordyn's tips, find the specials and plan your shop around them. Stick to your budget using an online shopping tool. Use fresh foods early in the week and save your canned until later, spicing them up to keep it interesting. Find substitutes for anything you don't have. Top up your pantry basics, possibly a different one each week to keep the cost down. And most importantly, keep trying.
Just do your best, really. We're all doing our best. I take every good meal as a win to me. It's like, oh. And I've made some bad meals, but so far I'm on a pretty good winning streak.
Next time on Thrift, food waste. We've touched upon this, but I'm going to dig into it a bit more with New Zealand food waste champions and find out how you can stop throwing your bread away. To check out that episode and others, make sure you follow us on your favourite podcast app. Special thanks to my guest in this episode, creative cook and blogger Jordyn Hammond. And if you want to check out her blog, it's at kiwiconsumption.blogspot.com. This podcast was produced and presented by me, Katy Gossett. It was mixed by Alex Harmer, and Tim Watkin is the executive producer of podcasts and series. If you have a tip to share, you can email us at thrift@rnz.co.nz. Thanks for listening. Ka kite.
Imagine the softest sheets you've ever felt. Now imagine them getting even softer over time. That's what you'll feel with Boll & Branch's organic cotton sheets. In a recent customer survey, 96% replied that Boll & Branch sheets get softer with every wash. Start getting your best night's sleep in these sheets that get softer and softer for years to come. Try their sheets with a 30-night guarantee. Plus, get 15% off your first order at bollandbranch.com. Code BUTTERY. Exclusions apply. See site for details.